This week, we have a somewhat more serious movie.
Yes. I'm being very serious.
Yeah.
In the studio right now.
Oh my God. Anyway.
You got this.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, we had a long stretch of interview episodes.
Yes.
And then we got to pop a movie, then interview, and
back to movies.
Yeah. So,
and back to weekly.
Yeah.
Soon.
I think in the episode, I said this was possibly going to be the one that launches the weekly. It is not. Well, no.
Possibly.
Yeah, because this one, no, it will, because this one, instead of releasing it Monday, we're going to give Hilton's 2 full weeks. And then this will come out, but that will give us the time to get back on our buffer schedule.
Yes.
So it will be weekly.
Anywho.
Or not. Who the fuck knows? You'll find out 1 week after this is released whether it's true. But anyway, it's fun to do non-horror movies.
It is.
I mean, we love horror, and again, it's going to be most of what we cover. But this being the 2022
Year of Women.
Yeah, Bravo for the B-side is trying to focus on that as much as possible. This one was an awesome find, like so many other awesome finds that are out there under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so bad because we can't possibly watch enough to cover all of them.
I know.
We can only do what we can.
Interestingly enough, before we jump into this, I want to say that this was on Tubi. I found a whole bunch. I mean, enough, unless they get like ripped off of Tubi before we get to them, but found enough to pretty much go through the whole year.
Yeah.
Right. There's like 20 something on there. And we're about halfway through. Plus we'll have some more, stuff. But anyway, the latest update to Tubi has done this great thing with browse.
Yes.
They have category options. And holy shit, I wish they had this while I was going through all those.
Yeah.
I went through like 60 fucking movies to find the 20.
But the category is films directed by women.
Yeah. Or no, female directed horror or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway, bam, there it is. There's a whole category.
Yes.
Women directors in different genres.
It is horror specifically. That was the one we saw. But I think they have others.
I think there's 3: horror, drama, and thriller.
Which is awesome.
I'm fucking A, finally. There should be like one for every genre, but
we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're seeing movement.
Yeah. So that was impressive. That was impressive. So folks, when you're hitting Tubi up and you're going to browse for something, check out the female director categories because you know why. It's time. Let's give these things some love and earn these people their 56 cents. I don't know what you get paid every time one of your things is watched. Yeah, no clue. But, hey, it's something. If you get enough people, it's a little something.
I know.
Anyway.
This movie, I mean, it's got a lot of lessons. Right?
Yes. Oh, man.
A
couple potent ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. That pay attention. Listen.
Important stories worth telling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how you tell them.
Yeah.
Well, just, it's not really much of a spoiler. This thing was knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
So, if you don't see it before you listen, because I know some people have written in saying they check the title and then they'll go hop on the movie and then they'll listen to the episode.
Right.
Other people are like, yeah, I listen to the episode, see, it makes me decide whether or not I want to watch it.
That's fine too.
I think this is one that you'll want to watch either way.
I think
you won't be sorry you did. And, just so much going for it. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of great moments.
Yep. And we hit them.
All right. Well, should we do it?
Let's go.
Vroom. We're going into it now. Hey there, B-siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-side. This is Danny.
And this is Jim.
You like that?
I was wondering where that was going to go.
So was I.
I love the spontaneity.
Thanks. I try to keep it fresh.
Well, you know, we do everything we can to plan out a professional level show.
We do, but I just can't help myself. I want every episode to sound like just a little different.
I was saying that
I kind of go for
fairly sarcastically. Because,
hey.
I mean, we do the movie, we take the notes, we do the sheet, and I make sure all the stuff is at least baseline, so I don't have to mix the hell out of it later. But really, beyond that, it's anybody's guess what's going to happen.
Hey, okay, listen. We've got professional fucking equipment. We have professional fucking software. Mm-hmm. We've got professionalism all up in here. Our podcast sounds good.
Yeah. It's just the hosts that need a little work.
It's just what we're saying and how we're saying it. Could maybe use a little polishing, but I like it how it is.
I'm not arguing it. I just find it funny, the contradiction of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Well, trying to think what's been happening. We were just before we hit record talking about something that you wanted to bring up. You can't remember it. I can't remember it. Or what it's related to. Because it doesn't even have to be related to the show.
Not really.
Is somebody doing something that we found out about? And I don't know.
I'm just going to say some things that are on my mind and see if it triggers stuff.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. Let's freeball it for a bit.
Okay. We caught on late to this show on HBO Max called Joe Pera Talks with You. And it's just so good. Yeah.
I don't know if we mentioned that before.
We might have.
It's just that good. We just cycled through it again.
It's so wholesome.
It's so much fun
to
watch.
Yeah. We finished rewatching Peaky Blinders.
Yes.
In anticipation of the final season.
Yep. Next month.
Yep.
In June.
God, it's May. Well, I mean, as we record this, it's like May 1st.
It is. Happy May Day, everybody.
May Day. Also, Rowan Atkinson is making a show called Man vs. Bee, and it's somehow 10 episodes long, and I don't know what.
It's probably going to be the most epic man-insect battle ever.
Well, I mean, I was talking with my mom about it a little bit, and my nephew, Randy. Our nephew, Randy. And we decided it's either a very smart bee or a very dumb human, or both.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and play it safe with both.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
know, right? What
crap?
What is there? We've cycled through a couple shows that we had been watching, and they're gone now. And Russian Doll.
Yeah, we watched the new season of Russian Doll. That was weird.
Yeah.
So it was the first season, but I like it. I love her hair. I love that it's a big foof of hair.
Yeah. Let's see. Elon Musk has bought Twitter.
Yeah.
And Netflix has canceled Space Force.
Yeah.
So there will be no more seasons of Space Force. And Netflix has actually been in the news for a lot of things. Losing subscribers. Just, I don't know.
Yeah. Actually, a couple of things I did want to bring up. Our friend at Channel of the Living Dead.
Yes. Kenny.
His house burned down.
Yes. I was going to bring that up for this one.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my man, Kenny, Channel of the Living Dead, folks, it's on YouTube. It's his channel. He doesn't do a podcast. It's straight YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned him in a BF McGillicuddy episode on social media on, him and, Kevin from, Narrowboats.
Yeah.
So yeah, Kenny's house burnt down, lost pretty much everything. So he's been posting on like Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, couple on his Channel of the Living Dead channel on YouTube. Do what you can, folks. Throw a little money his way, right? This is a guy who's really done everything he can to start chapter 2.
Yeah.
Right? Had a rough chapter 1. We don't need to get into it. It's nobody's business. It's just a guy who has been, trying to do good and, do his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're doing our thing. And, shit happened. And of course, it is what it is. You know, not everyone has insurance or the right insurance and stuff, but lost all of his horror collection stuff that he was really proud of. And, and I know there are people who are like, oh yeah, but if his family's safe and he's safe, it's not that fucking simple, man. It just isn't. I mean, I can say we could lose everything we have right here, as long as you and Lily are safe. I really don't care.
Right.
But, like a month later, I'm going to start getting heartbroken over all the old books that we collected. I mean, there's no assignable value to them, but it's all the sentimental stuff. It's the things you put yourself into.
Yeah.
Right. And not to mention over time, he's, collected a couple of cameras and, some microphones and some lights. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but you know what? When you got nothing, so yeah, he's holding up in a hotel right now with his family. They've got the basics, working, but you know what? If you can hit up any of those places, Channel of the Living Dead, just look them up everywhere and, see what he's got for his, it wasn't, can't remember now. If it was a GoFundMe or a different one, because he was talking about a different one to set up. Anyway, whatever it is, he's got links to it, right?
Yes. I mean, he's got a Cash App, and then he's also got a GoFundMe, I think, set up. Yeah.
It's either GoFundMe or it's a different similar thing. Because I know a lot of people I can't keep up. Is GoFundMe okay? I don't know. Is Indiegogo okay? I don't know. Kickstart? I don't know. There's so many others, like smaller ones creeping up. I call it the Tubi effect, right? Yeah. Nobody thought Tubi would be anything. I didn't, to be honest. I'm like, this is janky as hell, man.
Yeah.
But look at them. They're a powerhouse, especially for indie folks. So let's try and help Kenny out. If you can get a couple hundred people to put in like $3, right?
Yeah.
That's something. And something is better than nothing, literally, in this case. So, please check them out. See what can be done.
Yes. Here's the other thing.
Okay.
This isn't what I originally wanted to bring up, but I do want to bring it out now.
Sure.
Just before we started recording, I was talking to Miles, our buddy from the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to guest on his show again in the near future, which is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll keep it kind of, shh.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, until we do. And I learned that Miles has also suffered a recent family tragedy. His stepfather passed away suddenly, very suddenly, a couple days ago. And their family, I mean, they didn't have any, kind of coverage for what happened. So they're struggling with all the expenses that kind of go with that.
Yeah.
And so I have shared the GoFundMe on our Facebook page. I'm going to share it on Twitter. We'll share it on our stuff and we'll have the link for you. But if you can, I know like help out Kenny and help out Miles, but our friends need help. So,
well, there are people out there who need help.
Yeah.
Right. And, can't help everybody. I mean, none of us are just in that situation. Right.
Yeah.
But,
you can share it, if you
can share it. I mean, people listening to us, right? We have it's a small group. Come on, guys. Yeah. We're
all three of you.
Yep.
We care.
You might be doing other things, but this is something you can do for, a couple of folks who really people aren't going to hear about. Right. Kenny's got, sizable a respectable subscription. It's not tens of thousands. It's, I think he's at 3,000, but I know as like subscriptions and shit go, we have over 1,500 followers on Twitter. And I know maybe fucking 6 of them actually see the stuff.
We have pretty regular engagers.
Yeah,
with
but I mean,
stuff,
but here's the thing: everyone like follows and then mutes. You know,
yeah,
they just don't want to be the guy who like follows someone and gets followed back and then drops the guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, whatever. It is what it is. We should all be like looking to do some good. We talk about donating to film and stuff, but this is like, this trumps all that.
Yeah.
So, and again, it doesn't have to be much. Nobody's looking for like $1,000 out of pocket from everybody.
Right.
Right. But if you can get it out there, and if what your contribution is sharing it amongst a bunch of people who are going to see it, and even half of them respond, I mean, that's something. Right. So,
man,
some hard stuff.
Stuff.
But I mean, we've had losses, and it's never easy, but time will go on. Kenny and his family are okay. Lost all their shit, but you know what? Things will get reaccumulated, won't be exactly the same. But the bottom line is everybody's healthy, happy, safe, right? So, let's just be human beings and see if we can help make things a little better, get him back into a real place, help him so he can do his thing. He's not looking for everyone to get all of his horror shit back, just a little helping hand.
Yeah.
To get back into a place, and then he can, do what he always has done. He's going to just pound out shit day by day. He'll make it back.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So do we have any good news?
Yeah. We do.
What do we have?
Our kid turned 13 yesterday.
Yes. Well, okay. So that's good news. So
it is good news. It was a nice day.
Let's talk about the quick seesaw shit and ride that was. All right. So, she has gotten to a point where birthday parties are not her thing. And
as like teenagers are wont to do.
I know. And I was kind of like, felt like I was stabbed in the heart a little bit, because I have loved putting together these theme parties.
I know.
Right. And, the D&D, the zombie, the pineapple thing, just all of it. For the last, 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this was like so we labored over it. What are we going to do? And she thought maybe some friends would hang out at the mall. We're like, okay, so here's the deal though. We can't take a bunch of 12, 13-year-olds and drop you at the mall. Right. We have to be there because the mall people are going to be like, no, thank you. So we got to be like around. And that right away was like, oh, that's going to suck. So what we decided, she was going to take one of her friends. She wanted to take one of them up to the Dells, one of the water parks. And we had that all set.
Yeah, we had the tickets and...
Yep. So, 1 week, not even a full week. She gets a text from her friend. They had tested positive for COVID.
Yes.
So, now they don't go to the same school, so there was no exposure risk. Nothing like that. But I'm like, So, and Lily loves swimming, just like so much. And I was really upset.
Yeah.
I wasn't mad at anybody. I was just mad because we were like, oh, this is going to be like the first birthday, since pandemic that can like do some real stuff.
Yeah.
Not this Zoom stuff and kind of like lurking and hanging and masks and stuff. And then
yeah,
fate came and shit all over that. But turns out she was just like, meh.
Right.
She's like, no, I'm disappointed, but just swimming. I'm like, inside.
I know.
So what we did is we took the money that was going to be spent at the water park and let her go on a shopping spree yesterday.
Yeah, she got a bunch of stuff.
And it was funny because she realized after the first place we went, it's like, so how much do I have left? So we told her, she's like,
what?
that goes quick.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she got a boatload of stuff that she wanted.
Yeah.
You know, the only restriction was no more hoodies because we're coming up on summer.
Right.
You know,
we have an anti-slime, anti-putty rule in the house. So
yeah, that's a long-standing, well-earned banishment. But other than that, there were no restrictions. So we did that. Went to her one of her top 3 favorite restaurants.
Yes.
One that we don't get to often because it's way on the other side of town.
No, but it was her request.
Yeah. It was a good day. It was a good day. And then, oh my God, between that and the dessert we had there, and then she wanted to have cake. We were so full. Oh, and then the only thing she wanted to do was do the shopping, go to the restaurant, and play D&D.
Yeah.
So we
which
did
is
that.
like the sweetest.
You know, this kid's such a trooper.
Yeah.
You know, so we did all of it, and yeah, it was a good day. But
Yeah.
you know, it was just I was the one who had the emotional roller coaster.
Oh yeah, I get it.
You know,
and on top of it, she's been trooping through the whole thing with. She's preparing to get braces.
Oh yes.
So there's a lot that's been going on, kind of like just in preparation medically for that. Like, there's not enough room in her mouth. So
we're doing spacers to get ready for a palate expander, to get ready for all the, she's slowly seeing things taken away from her, like gummy stuff and super sticky, chewy stuff, popcorn.
But also just the pain of the spacers, right? Because they don't feel great.
Yeah. And we went through this whole thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's just going to suck. But, you know, it's what she wants to do. Mm-hmm. So we are doing it. But it comes with a price.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. All right.
Let's talk about a movie.
Yeah, because this is a good thing that happened this week. And I want to tell everybody about it.
Yeah. This was a really interesting movie. Triggered a lot of conversation and thought. And
we did have a lot of conversation. I've been ruminating over this, and we'll have more when we're done talking about it.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go.
Tell us about it.
Our movie this week is Take This Waltz. It is from 2011. It was directed by Sarah Polley. It was written by Sarah Polley. Starring Michelle Williams, Seth Rogan, Sarah Silverman, Luke Kirby. It's rated R. And this pulled in they gathered a $10 million estimated budget. Mm-hmm. And the log line, a happily married woman falls for the artist who lives across the street. Pretty simple. Now, before we get into it, this was a super big find for me because you weren't feeling good. I spent 2.5 hours going through trailers on Tubi looking for things directed by women. Yeah, I was
down with a migraine.
Yeah. And, man, I found a bunch. We're set. Mm-hmm. But this one, Sarah Polley, I've talked about her before. She was the one who starred in that, movie, No Such Thing, where, she found this ancient being, right? You know, no such thing as this ancient being who's been around since before man was created.
I'm looking. I've never seen a picture of her.
And a whole thing, comes of it. You know, he gets they make him popular. He becomes a boozer and stuff. Anyway, I love that movie. I've seen it so many times. And then since then, I've always been hooked on whatever she's been in. So she was in the new Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, I recognize her.
Right. And she was also in, I think it was the 2005 Beowulf and Grendel. Mm-hmm. She has written and directed a ton of movies, as well as starred in a bunch of stuff. So she's amazingly talented. I love that she got this whole thing together because we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so.
My goodness, she's got a whole bunch of credits.
I'm telling you.
She's been everywhere.
Yeah, I wasn't making it up.
This woman's a powerhouse.
She is.
All right, cool.
All right. Why don't you take us into this movie?
Okay. So we start out with Michelle Williams. I know that's not her character, but she's cooking. It looks like blueberry muffins. And it's very picturesque. There's like this lovely music. There's morning light shining through the window. She's barefoot. She's got a cute little apron. Like everything is very slow paced. And she sits in front of the stove and just sighs. And she doesn't look happy. Right?
Yeah, I had dismayed. Like something was, I don't know.
Yeah, like just something's not right.
Right.
And we see a guy walk in. It's just the back of a guy. And then we see her, she's traveling, right? She's got baggage. She's checking into a room, and then she's in a church. And then there's some sort of like historical reenactment going on where she's obviously across the pond, right? She's in Europe somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And the reenactment is like these guys dressed as medieval guards, and they're carrying this guy out. And he's got a sign on his neck that says adulterer. And so there's like a whole little crowd, a touristy crowd, and they're whipping him for his crimes of adultery. And they rope her into participating.
Mm-hmm.
And she tries to kind of like, no, I guess she's a travel writer or something. She's whipping him kind of half-heartedly, and this guy in the crowd like tells her to put her back into it. And she's not thrilled about it. But she does a little harder, and then as she goes, she like makes some snarky comment to that guy as she's walking off.
Mm-hmm.
So she's on a plane, obviously kind of going back. And then she is wheeled off the plane in a wheelchair, which is kind of interesting because we've seen her like walking around,
mm-hmm.
you know. So the guy in the audience who told her to whip the dude harder is also in the airport as she's changing flights, right? She's at a stopover. And he sees her in line in the wheelchair, and he kind of shakes his head. And then we're on the plane, and he ends up being in the seat next to her.
Yeah.
And they both have this kind of odd moment where they're both like, I know this person. They both think the other looks familiar.
Yeah, both of them are like, are you sure I haven't seen you somewhere before?
Before the public humiliation thing.
Right, yeah.
Right? So he asks her about the wheelchair, and she makes up some nonsense about how she can't walk on her leg long without help. And their conversation kind of like is in fits and starts.
Right.
There's not a lot of substance to it.
No.
But they keep kind of starting it back up. And he calls her out about her leg. He calls her out for like watching him sleep on the plane. And he's kind of joking around with her, but she's not very jokey, She ultimately admits that she uses the wheelchair because she's afraid of connections in airports. Like she's afraid at a stopover she's not going to make her next flight.
Right. And as we all know, if you're at an airport and you need to be in a wheelchair, they make absolutely sure.
Yeah.
You are zipped right to your location. They make sure everything. Yep. Where the rest of us are like, oh man, I hope I make it. This thing's not moving. Where's the tram?
I have run my ass off across airports.
Yeah. Ditto. It is terrible.
Why did they set up flights this way where you have 2 minutes to get from gate C24 to A73 and I have to take a tram? What is this? But she says that she's afraid of being afraid. And he tells her that's very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So they end up getting a cab together and discover that they live very close to each other. They're both kind of surprised to learn this. And when the cab stops and she realizes that he lives literally across the street from her, she looks sort of horrified. And their cab ride together, they were playing this like blowing a paperclip at each other game.
Yeah.
You know? But she looks sort of horrified and tells him that she's married. And he's like, oh, well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
And kind of walks over to his house.
Yep. Oh, man. So the next morning, she's waking up next to her husband in bed. And later, his family shows up. A lot of them have kids. There's a lot of kids running around.
It's a loud family.
It is a noisy bunch. Oh, my God. And the husband's sister, I wrote that, apparently likes to punch him a lot. Because every time she's just like punching him, cut away. Something else is going on. Come back. She's punching him. Outside on the porch later, the sister is talking to the woman, Michelle Williams, about recovery. How every book she reads is about falling off the wagon like 8 times, and it's almost like it's a prerequisite and stuff. And we find out that the sister is almost at 10 months of being sober. And then we have the following morning, woman's laying in bed again. And she has that forlorn, thoughtful look.
Yeah, she's troubled.
Yeah, well, that was in the beginning when she's sitting next to the oven. So anyway, later she sees Plain Guy come out of his garage with a rickshaw. And he takes off the street just as her husband comes out. Now, her and her husband seem playful and happy enough together.
Yeah, they have these cute little jokes where they like, they have a little bit macabre back and forth. You know, but it's goofy shit.
And then he does this thumb wrestle thing and she like shuts down, like completely fucking switches off and goes inside. Right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, okay. Later, he's making breakfast. She's making coffee. He says that he's glad she's there. There's clearly some kind of weird tension, but then at the same time, they end up wrestling on the floor playfully.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So right away, I'm not dialing in on this. This is really weird. What is the deal? And so then they're doing something and he's like, hey, baby. And right away, she switches off completely.
Yeah, she gets up, weird.
Leaves. And just these few minutes, there's a lot of ups and downs. A lot. So then we have another morning. She wakes up, has that look again after looking over at her husband who's asleep. And later on, we see her leaving the house and Plain Guy comes up with his rickshaw. They have this weird banter as they're walking because she's going to the market. And they end up going to actually sit down at a cafe and having coffee.
Yeah.
Right? He asks her what she's going to do with him now that she's got him. And pointed out that she was up early the day before and let him run off.
Right.
So he saw her seeing him, but gave no visual indication of it,
He's calling out her manufacturing excuses to run into him or to like see him.
Right.
Right. Which she didn't need to go to the store. Right.
Right. But here it is. Okay. So I thought that was interesting. And then they end up going back to it's not actually a house. She lives in a house. The big house that he lives in is actually divided up into apartments. I made that kind of a note thing. Which, here in Madison, we see a lot of that. So anyway, they go up to his apartment and shows her his art. And it's a lot of really good.
It's interesting
stuff, drawings and stuff. And then there's shows her, it's a picture of her split. One side is like hope and the joy and the bubbliness. And the other, according to her, as she's looking at it, is a junkie about to throw herself off a bridge. Okay. She gets huffy, but she keeps looking around his apartment.
Yeah.
She doesn't leave. She just starts pacing. And then we learn she's a writer. She says she writes not what she wants to write. So that's why I think that travel thing.
Right.
Because, we all end up, yeah. He asks, what's the matter? She seems restless.
Well, yeah, so he says, what's the matter with you? Just generally.
Yeah. Not just then, but in kind of a permanent way. Like,
right.
what's permanently wrong with you?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I want to just break for a second here. I love this guy.
I do too.
I love playing Guy. The reason that we jumped into this, it has so many wonderful people in it, and behind it. And this is, for folks of you who have watched Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, right? This is Lenny Bruce.
Yeah, he plays
the guy
Lenny
who plays
Bruce
Lenny Bruce, right?
Maisel. Oh, and he's wonderful.
He is, but there was some like Lenny in here.
Yeah.
Right? Just that, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like on a day-to-day basis. What?
Yeah.
He's just no bullshit about it. And he delivers it in such a fun way. Right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, yeah, what is your problem? Yeah. I'm with him. That's not tacky. That's not harsh.
And he doesn't mean to offend, right?
Right. But yeah, he's just, I don't have time for this.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Just
let's get some answers.
Generally.
So she ends up sitting down. They have this big, like, melancholy thing. And then she leaves. The next morning, her and her husband are playing around in bed, again, seems genuine, seems real.
Right.
Right? We're like, huh. Okay. And then, she's sitting, at her desk.
Like he pranks her in the shower.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is
and it starts here, and it's every time she gets in the shower, he pours a cup of cold water on her.
Thank you. I wrote that at the end because I wanted to write when this first happened, and I never got back to it. So at the end, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, back in the beginning of the movie, he's been doing, thing like this.
And she tells him, like, we've got to get this water looked at.
Yeah. And he takes, basically it's like a little measuring cup, one cup of cold water. He just kind of like drops it in there. And she's just like, oh, we got to get this looked at. It's doing it again.
Yeah.
The shower head's wrong. Something's wrong with his shower. And, and it genuinely seems like this, like,
right.
They're okay.
Yeah. Like a comfortable sort of marriage.
Yeah.
This is also where I learned her husband's name is Lou. See,
you learned it. I didn't. I call him husband almost until the end. But anyway, or no, I have his name. Maybe I went back and changed it when I found it. Anyway, so she's sitting at her desk, which is by the window, in front of the window, right? And she sees plain guy. And then she calls to her husband, who we learn is Lou. There we go. So I did get it. Oh, it's plain guy. I don't learn until the very end. Asking if he's busy. And then she goes down to him as he's cooking dinner. And they have this weird thing about exchanging those macabre comments. Like,
right.
Like, I just got a new ice pick. Can't wait to shove it in your temple.
Yeah. It's like, I love you so much. I'm going to gouge your eyes out. Or
with a melon baller or something. Yeah. Right? It's really weird. But this seems to be their thing.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, huh, okay.
Well, that's fine. We have weird things.
Yeah. But then she's trying to get close to him, and he's really focused on his cooking.
Yeah.
Right? Making dinner. And then their whole dynamic is strange because he kind of just like shoves her off. Right? Just kind of, hey.
Yeah. So then we see her at some swim exercise thing with her sister-in-law, Sarah Silverman's character.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious because it's like all these old women and then her and her sister-in-law and like this other lady who they're friends with, I guess.
Yeah. It's like senior center pool aerobics.
Yeah.
But here they are.
Yeah. And the, this Sarah Silverman's character is very into it. Apparently she loves this class. The instructor is just outrageous. He's very goofy, right? And we see, I call him neighbor, but you call him plain guy. So I'll just call him plain guy.
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
He is in the stands, like watching the class.
Yeah.
And Michelle Williams' character sees him and she just starts giggling because it, like, his presence there makes this whole thing that much funnier to her.
Yeah.
Right? And so the class goes on, and she finally tells her sister-in-law that she's going to pee herself. And Sarah Silverman's character goes, like, don't do it. They have the stuff that makes the water change color. She does anyway.
Well, yeah, the camera. So then we're under the water and we see nothing but asses, and Michelle Williams' ass is in the middle, and this explosion of blue.
Yeah.
Hits the water. Like, oh my God.
And she still can't stop laughing as they're like hurriedly exiting the pool, and all the ladies are pissed. And the instructor is like, someone's fouled the pool.
The pool has been fouled.
Yeah. And plain guy in the stands is also laughing about it. So they're in the showers, and we finally learn her name because Sarah Silverman's character says, this is where you pee, Margot, in the shower like a lady.
Yeah. Can I just say?
Yeah.
So through this entire shower scene, because they keep cutting to the other women in the class.
Yeah, they're having like a chat about married life, and
I mean, because they've already done a couple of cuts, by this time, because we shorten it up. But I wrote here, all the women in here are scrubbing like they had been directly pissed on.
I know.
The only thing I've seen with more intensity is like Silkwood, where they show the decontamination scrubbing from her.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's a
just
very
so funny.
And I actually want to talk about this scene a little bit because it's a very extended, full nude scene. And there's the three kind of like younger women, and then there's all these like older women who are also fully naked.
Right.
Right. And they're just like casually chatting. There's nothing sexy about this nude scene.
Right.
Right.
It's a normal shower room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just showering and kind of chatting, they're all chatting about their married life basically, while the old ladies are like giving them the dirtiest looks.
Yeah.
And I thought that was actually really refreshing. Yeah. Because every time you see nudity in a movie, it's sexually related.
Yeah, or just gratuitous for the sake of here we're going to have her bare ass naked in a shower, maybe a creepy sound, maybe nothing, but
right?
Here's a chance to get all tits out.
Yeah.
We took a break right after this, and I did mention, to my recollection, this is the single longest women in a shower scene I have ever seen.
It is quite long.
And I grew up with like Porky's and all the stupid 80s, gratuitous things, the summer camp movies, even the horror movies, right?
Yeah.
Plenty of those where all the women decide to shower together in the dark, in the creepy, right? And then guys are watching, or someone will slip into the shower and, the boning commences. All this stuff. And I really stuck on this for a while, because this is not typically the kind of thing you would see in a film done by a woman.
Right.
Right? Because we're fighting against stupid, nudity for the sake of it. I mean, all this shit that we have to get past. But this was normal, everyday life.
Yeah.
Right? They're not doing anything but talking and showering.
Mm-hmm.
And then the old ladies across the
I do love how you put it though, because the old ladies across, they are scrubbing like they're decontaminating, like Michelle Williams, like
literally just
all over them.
like hung over them on a swing and just like pissed head to toe, each and every one of them. I mean, one of them scrubbing their hair to the point where I'm like, you're going to need a wig when you're done with that. The other ones. And then you pointed out the one who through the entire scene is scrubbing her crotch.
Yeah, she's scrubbing her vagina just like hard.
through the whole thing. And
like
this is
she
a
wants
long
to
scene.
punish it.
Right?
Like it did her wrong.
That's for like 5 minutes. That's all she's doing. At least the other leaders are moving from like hair to arms to, you know, breasts and butt and belly and legs and stuff.
Like if she scrubs it enough, the pee will come out.
It's almost, yeah, it's almost like an automaton.
Yeah.
That she's just, every time they cut, she's just right there. And yeah.
It's really funny.
So, on two fronts, it works. And it has these little bits that are funny and add levity to, you know, this kind of, I won't say serious conversation, but a real conversation.
Well, yeah, because in their conversation, they're talking about their husbands and kind of like stuff that is frustrating to them and how new things get old. And it's very relevant to what Michelle Williams is kind of going through.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
But she isn't confiding in her sister-in-law and whoever this other woman is that I don't remember how important she is to the story. Evidently not like super important.
No, just she's an acquaintance.
Yeah.
Two of them. No.
But anyway, you know, because Sarah Silverman's character isn't in a super happy marriage, right? And the other one doesn't seem to be in a super happy marriage. But they both are like, well, you know, new things get old. If I left him for a shiny new man, he'd get old eventually too. So, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
In a nutshell.
So then she's, Margot is walking with the plane guy. And he's kind of like giving her a little shit about peeing in the pool. And they decide to go get martinis. And they sit down and she says to him, I want to know what you'd do to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he describes in a lot of detail, you know, like kissing her and then like this, just all this very graphic description of how he'd seduce her and fuck her, basically.
It's interesting because he starts out, I just kissed the top of your head.
Right.
And it seems pretty mundane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, and this and that. And I love this bit because I could see what was happening. In a lot of movies, it's right away to, you know, I'm kissing your neck and my hand is sliding. It's like, whoa.
Hold on.
Did you even get out of the car yet, motherfucker? I mean, come on, guys. Oh, Jesus. So many people do not know how to do eroticism at all.
Yeah.
But anyway.
He's good at it, though.
He's good at it, though.
It's slow and sexy.
But not deliberately slow and sexy. At first,
right.
it's testing the waters. Because
right.
he is eyeing the shit out of her, watching for every little reaction, which I think was an awesome thing to do. This little bit was so well written. I mean, this is like my favorite part of the movie.
Yeah. But I think at this point in the movie, I have very few notes on what it is because I just like put my elbows on the table and my hands on my face. And I was like,
yeah,
such an interesting.
I just wrote, says he just kissed the top of her head. And then I was watching, waiting to take a note. And I finally just wrote, and it goes from there. Margot is really affected by it. And I love that because this is like the truest interaction of two people who have like this attraction fascination, but you don't just go all in. That's not how it fucking works. This was like real life at work.
Yeah.
Where, you know, I kissed you on the top of your head. He's waiting for a reaction. How far can I go before this turns to shit? Is she into this? Is this really what she's looking for?
Right.
And it's that safety thing, right? And her reactions provide him enough information to go a little further. And then, yeah. Because this isn't like a 5-liner.
No, it's
right. This is like a solid 2 minutes of him doing this, and her reactions just more and more and more. And I thought, yeah, this is how it would work.
Yeah.
You know.
he ends his very graphic description by telling her that he loves her. And then they both kind of like burst out laughing.
Yeah.
Right? Breaking the trampoline tight tension, right, that they've built up. And she says that since none of this is going to happen,
right,
because she, is married, that she wants to make a date to kiss him 30 years from now.
Yeah.
And they, it's this like lighthouse, and they make a date for it. And she says, after I've been loyal to my husband for, 36 years or whatever, then I'll have earned a kiss.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. She'll have earned, basically saying, I'll have put it in, and if I still feel this way, then it's okay for me to leave.
Right.
Kind of thing, which is kind of a weird thing. But I
took it as right? like, if I, stay with it and do this for, 30 years, I'll have earned at least just the one kiss, like this one little bit of infidelity is what I kind of took it as. Not necessarily that she would run away with him.
Well, I didn't get the run away. I got the sense that she would, to not even have the infidelity. It would be just, I put in enough time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, at home, she's going to the bathroom and Lou just like walks right in.
Yeah.
Okay. They do this a lot in movies where married couples are comfortable.
I was going to say, are we going to address
Let's
this
address this
finally?
We're married.
We've seen this happen multiple times in movies, like you said.
Yeah. Tons of times.
Yes.
I love you very much. You're never coming into the bathroom while I'm going to the bathroom.
I never want to.
And I never want to go in while you're going to the bathroom.
Yep. The only time we have broken that bridge apart is when someone's in the shower.
Yeah.
Because we have one bathroom.
Right.
Right. So it's sort of like it's on the table. when you have three people in a house with one bathroom, it's on the table. Yeah. And it's happened where, I've knocked and I'm like, I can't.
But it's
wait.
That anymore. Is a rare.
It's super rare. And it happened a lot with Lil.
Yeah.
When she was younger.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Because, she'd be like, sleep in. We're like, oh, well, I'm not going to wait till noon to see if she wakes up. Because, we had a late night. I'm going to take a shower. And then knockity knock, especially with you.
Yeah.
Like in the mornings and stuff.
She feels a lot more comfortable.
Yeah.
If I'm in there, she doesn't care. She'll be like, I'm coming in. Yeah. I'm like, great.
And then when she's showering, you'll be like, can I get in there and stuff? So, but it doesn't happen often.
Right.
But to casually, first of all, two things. One, I wouldn't just like stroll in on you. Two, we would have had a conversation long before this if every time you went to the fucking bathroom, the door is open. Right? There again, when you leave the door open, it's on the table.
Yeah.
But for the wrong reason. Close the door.
Right?
Right. But then I can't imagine going in there and just like brushing my teeth. Like standing at the sink next to you and starting to brush my teeth.
Right?
Now I can understand if I like, had some sort of medication in there I needed to take like right now or some sort of like insulin shot or something where I would just zip in and get out. Not the favorite thing to do, but would happen.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I guess
what the hell? Why is this?
Some people are comfortable with it, I guess. Enough people that it is a common thing in film.
Well, I don't, but that's the thing is I don't understand how this is relevant to two people's comfort level with one another and intimacy level with one another. Because if you're saying, well, if you can go in, all right. So, I've had to shower with over 100 men.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no intimacy there.
Right.
That is how it goes. I think too many people rely on this and it actually repels me. And it always, it detracts for me. Every time I see this, the first thing I think is these are not two people who belong together as much as they're trying to make it seem. Because I think it's disrespectful. I think that whole thing of to be a perfect union in a relationship, you absolutely have to have separation.
Yeah.
Right? You and I are together day and night.
We're together literally all the time.
Yeah, because we both work from home, so we're here. And then after work, we're here. And we're doing things with the midge, we're here. And if we leave, we almost always leave together.
Right.
Except for like Sundays when I go grocery shopping.
Or work stuff.
Yeah. But let's just say the 24/7 thing has been in place long before COVID. I mean, we have been in each other's company consistently, minute by minute, right? And never once have felt like, gotta just get out. Gotta just get away. Gotta have me time.
Right.
But we have these little boundaries.
Yeah.
Bathroom being one.
Yeah.
We have where Lily will go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we try to figure, what do we want to do? And like, you want to paint.
Yeah, I like painting.
So, you know, painting the figures. We don't have separate rooms. No. So we know you're going to paint. I'm not going to bug you. I'm going to turn my stuff down and maybe play a game, or, you know, because that's usually when I get to play a game. It's when you're painting and she's in bed. And we just kind of chill. And then we know, hey, you want a cigarette? Sure.
Yeah.
You know, take a break from it and go back. And
we've been around each other long enough that we're pretty in tune when both.
Right.
You know.
But I mean, that's the thing, you know, walking in on someone going to the bathroom. And it's not like, it's supposed to show they're not embarrassed or whatever. I just think it's rude. And I think it is showing complete lack of appreciation for the individuality of your partner.
Yeah.
Right? There's very few things in life that are actually personal.
Right?
You know, emotions and thoughts and all that, that's all bullshit and fluff, right? That's shit we invent. There are very few actual personally intimate physical things that a human being can do. And I think that boundary is what keeps things healthy.
I think so.
You know, to show, just not to go in and brush your teeth, but to go, it's my teeth. I can wait.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because that I felt like I wanted to write down something we should talk about in parentheses.
Yeah.
Because it is all the fucking time now.
It is.
Now, this is 2011, this film. But folks, do a mental overview of all the couples shit that you've seen on TV and in film. And just think about how many times someone walks in on someone in the crapper like it's nothing.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay. So then he comes in to brush his teeth and she decides to go in the shower. And she's just like stripping as she's going toward the shower. And I wrote here, I like the way nudity is very nonchalant in this film. Like, it's not sexual.
There is not one bit of any of these shots. So like the shower room shot was actually, I think 4 shots. The 2 wide shots, 1 wide shot of Michelle and Sarah, and then that other woman, the younger ones, and then the wide shot of all the older women.
Right.
And then we had, I think, a close angle shot on Michelle Williams and a close angle shot on Sarah Silverman as they were having some conversation. Nothing was lined up to accentuate asses or nipples or anything. And her parading across in this bathroom scene. Right. There's nothing alluring about it. There's nothing suggestive about it. It's, I think, every woman or man, anyone, I need to take a shower. You just peel your shit off. You don't.
Oh, yeah. It's very much the way that I peel my stuff off as I'm walking across a room.
So can I bring up the joke that we've got going?
What joke?
Because of that movie.
Oh, I don't remember what it is.
Stupid movie.
Oh, yeah. If you want.
Not
this movie, but another movie.
Yeah. No, so one of the movies that we watched just to kind of burn the background noise. We were just chilling on the couch and we're like, let's pick one that looks like a stupid movie and kind of, unwind a bit while the girl goes to sleep so we can go to bed. And it's so stupid. It was one of these where it has this woman with, large breasts, and I don't know if the point of the character, had the intelligence of a watermelon. She's like, duh, but she's showering, and so she's like, it's all boobs and rubbing and stuff, and her hair's not wet. And then there's like soap, and then there's not soap. You just don't know what the fuck is going on. But everything, and then she goes to get dressed.
Yeah.
Right. And she's like squashing them and, everything. It's like she's hurting.
She's over sexualizing everything about these very mundane tasks.
Right. And it literally does look like she's got like two armfuls of puppies.
I know.
That she's trying to hold to her chest the way she's moving. And you looked over at me and you go, is that how it's supposed to go? Have I been dressing wrong? I'm like, yep. I'll tell you, you've been called out, busted. I can't keep quiet about it anymore. So now every opportunity is a way to relive the ridiculousness of this.
I just think it's so funny.
You want some milk? Yeah. Oh, you want to get some? You want a snack? Yeah. Anything. Should we go do laundry? Yeah. Oh, wait. No. Jesus God. Anyway.
You laugh every time.
I do, because it's funny, and it just reminds me that's a perfect contradiction to this.
Right.
Where, God, that is like the movie version of women at any level, and it's annoying as hell. Where in this film, this is all so just natural. It doesn't even exist like in my head as registering as it matters.
Right.
Yeah. But I did notice that he completely fucking left that unaddressed.
Yes.
Right? Now, to me, you have a solid relationship with somebody. And yeah, they're going, and not everything is a moment for sex, right? But if they're like going to the shower and you're in the room while they're undressing, I think some sort of just acknowledgement.
It's nice.
Right?
Yeah.
To be like, ooh, sexy, gorgeous, anything.
Yeah.
To register, I'm in the room with you. You're undressed. I find you pleasing, visually.
You never miss a chance, my love.
But, and I think that.
And I appreciate it.
Well, and when I don't see that in a film, most of the time I equate it to people not knowing how to write that shit. But I, deliberate or not, it was a very big marker on his weird actions towards her.
Interesting. Right? Yeah.
That walking in, brushing your teeth, she's trying to do her business. And then she's like, I gotta take a shower. And then you don't say anything. Didn't even look.
Right.
Right? That's the thing that got me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We learn that Lou is indeed writing a cookbook. I noted earlier at the party with all the family there that they mentioned someone was making a cookbook. And I was like, maybe the husband?
Right.
So we learn he is indeed writing a cookbook. That's what he does. And she's like loving on him while he's cooking, but he isn't about it. And then she gets upset with him for getting upset with her for being on him. And it's such a stupid argument. And he seems very confused by her getting upset.
Right.
But yeah, it's a very awkward scene.
They get into a whole thing. He doesn't want to splash the sauce and stuff. Right. And then she just starts screaming at him that it takes courage for her to seduce him. And he points, that's stupid. And yeah, the whole thing doesn't go well. It's super fucking awkward. I felt like I was heading towards the deep end, but I don't remember coming off the diving board.
Right.
Like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
Whoa, there is a layer to this we have not been privy to.
I know. Well, and they both have very poor reactions, right? If she's, on him while he's cooking and he's like, I don't want the sauce, he could go, hey, it's dangerous for you to do that.
Yeah. Or,
right?
I can't. Yeah. Just a second. Let me turn this down. Let me do something. Because that's another thing.
Yeah.
everyone who's in love with one another, wants to be like, physical, a hug, a kiss, just kind of that. But again, if you have a good relationship and it all matters, it's okay for someone to say, not while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's, you don't have to go.
Wait.
Yeah. Right? You don't have to pull a Mr. Rogers and, not while I'm doing this. It's very dangerous. I could splash the sauce. You could get hurt. Right? You don't need to do that. Oh my God. You're adults.
Yeah.
Someone says, hold on. Back the fuck off.
I mean, it's also absolutely okay to be like, I'm not in the mood right now. Right?
Right. Well, yeah. And I think it depends what is kind of going on.
Right.
I mean, when two people make contact, usually the signal is pretty clear. Like if it's sort of a seduction kind of thing, which she was doing, she went in with that goal. Or if it's just, you're here, I'm here. I just want to have physical contact with you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, and it's not like calling her out.
Right.
She's like, getting all seductive, and that's what people do. So after all of this, the whole bathroom thing, right? We do see him dump the water on her. This is where, which I also thought was kind of weird, right? Like, why the cold shoulder? And then the big kick is the little cup of water thing. Anyway, she ends up, that was the bathroom thing, but, after the failure to seduce, she goes upstairs to lay down, and then we have like a couple cut shots. It's later, and it's dark. So, she gets up, and then she goes outside and she shouts down the street toward Plain Guy's house. She's going for a swim, and out he comes, right? Like a lovesick dog. Like he's just been like waiting in the bush for any kind of anything. So it comes out, follows her. This was, so at the pool, they end up doing this like little water ballet thing with one another. Not like a formal dance thing.
Right.
But just all these interactions without actually like,
well, they're dancing around each other in the pool.
Yeah.
And they're not touching.
Yeah, I was going to say without touching.
It's like very metaphoric in the way that they've been interacting with each other, right?
Yeah. And I made a note that the scene and its intention is really rather elegant.
It is.
And it was beautifully done. Right up until while they're doing the underwater, he touches her ankle.
Yeah.
Wham! Shuts down. She swims off, gets out of the pool, saying it was a bad idea. And then Plain Guy just continues swimming. But I wrote with purpose. Because he's just like,
right.
Stroke, just swimming hard.
Yeah.
Back home, she sits in the kitchen. There's still pots boiling while Lou is on the back porch drinking a beer, and they look at each other through the window. This scene was fantastic.
Yeah.
Because inside she's listening to music, right? Outside it's like dead fucking quiet as he's sitting there. They end up like touching their fingers to the window and then their hands, and end up kissing each other through the window, the glass. And then he goes in and holds her, and it's like back and forth.
Yeah. We're making up. Right?
Yeah. It was really, this whole movie was a pleasure to watch, but these scenes are what,
I love the realness.
Yeah. That's really just it is, Sarah Polley put this together. Real. There's no other way to put it.
I do want to mention Lou is played by Seth Rogan in this film, which we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, Lou is played by Seth Rogan.
And I really this was in 2011, so this must have been one of his first more serious films.
Well, let's call him Skinny Seth.
Right, because he lost a lot of weight.
This is when he had lost a lot of weight. And everyone thinks that, Seth Rogen from 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Right.
Right? And he played a lot of goofy ass roles. I gotta say, he is really good.
He is really good.
Let's talk, just a second. 'Cause I just don't want to wait till the end.
Sure.
An actor can say the lines, make them feel real. But as script writers, we know that script is only like 30% of the film.
Yeah.
All right. This is just who's in the fucking room. What do they say? What are we telling the audience so we can move to the next fucking scene? Right. A true actor is the one who can bring you the expressions, the looks, the interactions, how they hold themselves. Famously, people are like, it's hard to get into watching John Wayne because the man never knew what to do with his hands. If he was standing still, he was always, wiggling his fingers and stuff. And they tried super hard to cut him from the chest above.
Right.
Because they're like, God damn, he just won't stop. He's been at it for 20 years. He can't do anything with his hands. Seth did a fantastic job.
He really did.
I mean, you just believed everything about what was going on. And of course, Michelle Williams, we love her to death.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it real. And that's what his contribution to all of this made it seem more real.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was, pulling the William Shatner,
right,
overcompensating. It was the perfect amount from everybody, really.
Yeah.
Everybody in this. So yeah, he goes in, he's holding her, and then later we see him sitting on the phone. And she comes in to cozy up to him. And you can tell it's like a business call.
Right. It's about his book.
Right. And they do their playing thing while he's talking. It's just like fucking weird. She like sticks her hand in his mouth. And,
yeah.
And he's not like pissed.
Right.
He's giving back. Right. Trying to hear, and like gets put on hold. He's like, I'm trying to have this conversation. And she doesn't care. And he's playing along with it. So
it's cute.
It is. And again, you miss like what comes after for like the first 30 seconds, at least for me, because I'm trying to suss out what the fuck is up with these two? They're on, they're off, they're hot, they're cold. What?
Right.
What is the reveal here? Right? I'm thinking, was there like some sort of marriage counseling? Was there some sort of big fuck up or not? Nothing points to that, but everything points to something.
Yeah.
Right. So the next morning she's out walking. Plane guy comes up to her with his rickshaw in tow. Margot tells him it's her anniversary. It's their 5-year anniversary for her and Lou. And then this is when it all comes out. Lou writes chicken cookbooks.
Well, he's writing a chicken cookbook.
Oh yeah.
And we get plane guy's name, Daniel.
Yeah. Well, you got it. I didn't catch it till later. So I think I was busy typing. I was so excited to get, the full on backstory
about Lou.
Yeah. And, just chicken. That's emphasized. Just chicken. And they get to her house and Lou comes out. Lou and Margot are going to head to a movie and plane guy offers to give them a ride in the rickshaw.
Yeah.
Lou is excited, jumps right in.
Yeah. He's like, I've always wanted to ride one of these.
Yeah. At first he's like, no, that's all right. No. And the guy, and plane guy's like, no, seriously, come on. It's your anniversary. Get in. I'm going, I'm going to work. It's where I work, in the downtown. So he jumps in and he has to encourage Margot to get in, which I can understand. It's a little uncomfortable.
Right.
So anyway, during the rickshaw ride, Lou is having a fucking blast. Margot is in panic mode. You can just see her like, this is like it's like too exciting for her. The whole motion of the thing. Right. And then add the rest in.
Well, and she's watching him from behind and he's like running and sweating and, you can see his arm muscles. They make sure to show that it's, it's hot, right?
Yeah.
Him running the rickshaw. Meanwhile, Lou is inviting Daniel over sometime for some chicken.
Yep. It's just the worst possible situation Margot could be in for this story. So they get to the theater. Lou tries to pay him. Yeah. And plane guys just says, make me some chicken. And then afterwards we see them at dinner and it's pretty quiet between them. And we have Margot very awkwardly. Like she seems super uncomfortable asking, how is everything? And we get nothing. And then she tells Lou to say something so they can have a conversation. Lou responds, he doesn't have anything to say.
Right. He's confused.
He's like, we're together all the time. She's like, well, aren't you going to ask how I am? He goes, well, I know.
Don't I?
Don't I? And he goes, I'm not going to have a conversation just to have a fucking conversation.
Right.
And again, I'm like, what is up?
Right.
And I just noted that these, in spite of all of their playing around and fun, these are two fundamentally opposite people.
Yeah.
Right? Because you can have fun with someone, you can share a sense of humor with someone, but there's that deep down intimacy that we're all looking for to find our, soulmate, partner, whatever. And right about here is where I'm like, these are not two people who should be married. They don't touch on any of these deep levels.
Well, and Lou in this scene, he seems to recognize that something is off with Margot.
Yeah.
But he doesn't do anything about it.
Right. So anyway, as we're left contemplating that, we have another day. It's late in the day. Margot is walking on a beach. And then she's sitting on a bench by the beach. And then here comes Plain Guy with rickshaw in tow.
Well, it's early in the morning.
Oh, is it early in the morning?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Asks her to go for a walk. He's like, can we just go for like a real walk? I just want to be out in the world with you. Like, for real.
He does initially ask about her anniversary and she's like, I don't want to talk about my husband with you.
Right. Cause he's like, how was last night? She goes, it was good. He's like, good. And then, she's like, not having that conversation. So anyway, she agrees. And then we see them eating poutine at a picnic table. Mm-hmm. Anyway. And then, there's a lot of like little moments. They're on a ferry eating watermelon. And, she asks about the scrambler.
Yeah.
And it's a ride at an amusement park.
Yeah. Spinny.
Yeah. You sit in it. They call it different things, different places. Anyway. So she, have you ever been on it? So then they're on the scrambler and she did make the comment that it goes way too fast for anything to happen.
Right.
Right. So there's lights, there's music. This fucking thing is spinning. There's a lot of looking at each other. And then all of a sudden, both of them like drop the whole fun look and it gets this like real melancholy atmosphere. And then the forlorn looks, hers we've seen.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've seen Plain Guy kind of sharing that look on his own level. And then Margot closes her eyes and sort of gets like lost in the music for a bit. And then bam, she's back to having fun again.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, poof, the ride ends, slows down to a stop. The music cuts off. The lights come on. And that was like abrupt.
It's awkward. And it's like fun and then awkward and then fun and then awkward. And
it's over. Right.
Yeah.
So then they're walking home. He goes to his door. She follows and goes inside. And then she goes and gets in his bed and pulls up a blanket. She asks, what are you going to do now? And he says nothing. It's for her to do something, not him.
He's right.
Yeah. And she says, I don't have to tell you I'm in love with you again, do I? And he says she never did. And then she answers, in that case, and then she starts crying. He says he thinks she needs to go home and she leaves. And then we have another day. She's hanging paper lanterns in the living room with Lou. They're having fun again. They kiss. They're just doing the thing, making little jokes. Later that night, Lou's sister is giving a speech. There's a lot of people there. They're celebrating her sobriety. So we hit that 10-month thing. Later, Plain Guy sitting outside sees the party. Lou, as he steps outside, sees him across the street. He's like, come on over. Plain Guy tries to say no, but
Daniel.
Shh, I don't have it here. I have it coming up. Fine, I'll call him Daniel. So anyway, Daniel, Lou is really just friendly.
Yeah.
Genuinely a nice guy. So you can only fend that off without looking like a dick. So Daniel goes. Right away, he cuts in on Margot dancing with someone. And she breaks off to get him a drink. He follows. This is where I wrote, plain guy is Daniel. Wasn't super far behind. Daniel and Margot step outside to go to the back. He's like, I tried not to come. Lou's really, insistent. And then he talks about, he's been thinking about her fear, Margot's fear of being in between things. He says he hates it too. Yeah. He doesn't want to be that in between of things, right? And, on a philosophical level, we all have to deal with that moment, between jobs, right? Yeah. Whether you lose a job or you quit a job and you decided I'm going to take a week for me before I begin this next one.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Just relationships, all manner of shit.
Yeah.
We live a lot of our lives in between this and that. So I kind of get that. And he doesn't want to be in between. And then Margot goes back in. He goes back in after a bit, sees her dancing with Lou. He leaves. Margot looks upset. And then we cut to a postcard dropping through the mail slot into a little mail basket on the inside of the door. And the next morning, we see it as Margot picks it up. It's a lighthouse, and on the back is a time in the year 2040.
Yeah, it's 30 years.
Yeah.
From now.
Yeah. She goes outside, and we see Daniel driving away in a pickup truck with all of his shit in it.
Yes.
Right? And there we go. And then we see Lou watching out the window, and he looks really upset. When she comes back in the house, he's gotten back into bed and is pretending to be sleeping.
Yeah.
So she gets into bed and stares at him. Then we cut to a lighthouse. We have two silhouettes walking towards one another. And then they kiss. And then Margot wakes up with a sharp sigh. And she wakes up Lou. They're sitting on the bed, and he's looking really upset.
Well, both of them look pretty miserable.
Yeah, but we're kind of used to her looking a little down, right? This is the first time we see him not in his typical jovial or even standard self. She's got her face buried in her knees. Then he's downstairs really mad and sad. There's a lot of shots of him.
There is a montage of him reacting.
Just saying all kinds of different things. Yeah. And it's a whole seesaw of emotions. And nobody who's ever been through this kind of thing isn't going to get.
Yeah.
How can you be like tears, crying
laughing
so hard you can't speak, and next thing you're laughing. Next thing you're just kind of like, okay, and then you're just kind of sad, and then you're back at it again, and then you're pissed. Right? They cover all of that. And they did it really well. And it's just him. After a while, towards the end of it, then we cut to see her in frame, right, from behind.
Yeah.
So that he's not just, I guess for those who might think he's just babbling endlessly, they are having a conversation.
Right.
But the questions and the dialogue isn't really it. These are all the kinds of things that just kind of come out.
Yeah.
That don't have anything to do with what you're talking about. It's just, when confronted with something like this in your relationship, it is so hard to process. Your brain is on overdrive, and you are actually hardly focused on what's going on.
Yeah.
It is so easy to spin off course.
It is.
And random shit. And they did this magnificently. He tells her to go take a shower to make herself feel better. And so she does. And then we see her in the shower, and the water falls on her. And all of a sudden he pulls back the curtain.
And he's got the cup.
He's got the cup. And we learn that he's been doing this every single day that they've been together.
Yeah.
And he's like, long-term joke, I guess. And then walks out. And then she starts sobbing.
Well, it's not all he says. I thought this moment was actually really poignant because he says, as a long-term joke, I was going to tell you when we're 80 that it's been me the whole time.
Right. Yeah. He was.
He goes, and I figured you'd think it was funny.
Yeah. And he was thinking, you're the last person I'm going to see before I die.
Right.
Kind of thing. Yeah. Which really, again, he's not a dick in this movie.
No, I don't think Lou's a bad person at all. I think he's a very nice guy.
We'll get to a little more of that. So anyway, yeah, she sobs in the shower.
So later we have her running to the beach, and she's like sitting out at the edge of a breakwater, and someone walks up behind her and she turns, and then we see Margot and Daniel. They've got their own place, right? They're kissing. It's an apartment together, and we kind of get this it's a really cool shot where it's a spinning around them, right? This is a very complex, well done shot.
Yeah.
Because as the camera is spinning around them, the apartment is being built.
Yeah. It starts out like, it looks like an old, where they usually have like the dance classes.
Yeah.
It's like he rented out like a literal studio apartment on top of a building, because it's those weird windows that they're like half round. They start at the floor and they come up. And if you look at it, immediately my brain put into place all the dance bars where the dancers stretch against and stuff. I mean, that was kind of thing. But yeah, it's really sparse.
Right. And then there's boxes, and then there's furniture, and there's a bed in the center, and they're on the bed. And so it's, this apartment, their life together as the world is cycling, right? They're like having wild sex while this apartment is going around. At one point, there's like another woman there with them. At one point, there's another man there with them. Man, woman, man. Yeah.
I mean, they're having a life.
Oh, it's very exciting.
That's very different from well, we actually don't know Daniel's like whole history, but we certainly know Margot has not had anything like this happen to her in her life.
Right.
So they're doing their thing.
Until it's no longer exciting, right?
Right.
The bed is no longer the center of the apartment. They're on a couch. They're watching the news. They're not even like cuddling, and things are kind of stale.
Yep.
And then we see her walking down the street, and she sees Lou's cookbooks in a shop window and smiles. And they're very cute. They have him in, in a chef's hat with a bunch of chicken around him.
It's an awesome picture.
And we see Margot and Daniel at the lighthouse, saying they're glad they didn't wait. And then she's cooking in the apartment, and she gets a call, which apparently has sent her back to Lou's house. There are police out front. So the former sister-in-law, whose name was apparently Geraldine.
Yes. We learned this at the end.
At the very end. She went missing, leaving the kid that she had with her husband alone for hours. And Margot has a pretty close relationship with this kid, or she did when she was married to Lou. Seems like Geraldine fell off the wagon, no longer sober.
Right.
And, as they're trying to sort this out, she comes flying through, crashing into some garbage cans.
Yeah.
In her car. She spots Margot and is like, "Hey, I've missed you," and runs up and kind of pulls her off to the side.
Yeah.
And immediately tells Margot that she fucked up. Not that Geraldine fucked up.
Yeah, she tells Margot that Margot fucked up.
Right.
Yeah.
and has this very interesting kind of conversation with Margot. Or mostly it's her talking at Margot drunkenly.
Yeah.
But she's not wrong. She says, and I think this is actually really good, life has a gap in it. It just does.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go crazy trying to fill it.
Right. And that's that in-between thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Lou, after this whole situation has been kind of settled.
Yeah. Geraldine is hauled away.
Yeah. She sits down next to Lou on the porch and he apologizes for calling. Says that the niece wanted to see her. And Margot clearly has regrets, right? As she's sitting down, just kind of talking with Lou.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some things you can't undo. And Lou is not open to the idea of going back to anything.
Well, she kind of like soft hits on him.
Right.
That whole, and he's just like,
no.
No.
So then we're back to the first scene that we saw, which is her baking the blueberry muffins.
Yeah.
And we know now that it's Daniel who walks in.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets up and hugs him. And then we see her alone in that spinning ride in the scrambler.
Yeah. And then that's it.
That's it.
That's the movie, folks. So much to unpack here.
Yeah.
I think we can just get the simple stuff out of the way. Technically, brilliant.
Beautiful.
I mean, $10 million budget. If you can't shoot a good movie, then you got no business doing it. And Sarah Polley knows what the hell she's doing.
Written and acted and filmed gorgeously.
I mean, the shots are magnificent. That rotating in that studio, with not just like furniture appearing, but you can see the evolution, like better furniture.
Right.
Right. Anyone who's ever like moved in, especially even if you've been on your own for a while and you got tons of shit, there's that whole thing of, it's this mismatched hodgepodge of crap and you got funky furniture. And then over time, it becomes this cohesive look and feel that the both of you, right, are represented by, rather than just random bits of my shit and her shit and his shit. And,
right.
This and that. These actors did a fantastic job. They were straightforward. And the funny thing too is watching this, like every time Sarah Silverman is in something, people like dump on her. But I think it's because they just hate her comedy because she's just like no bullshit up front. She's like, if you can't fucking take it, then you just, don't even need to leave the house.
I've always liked her stuff. Honestly.
She speaks truth. And that unsettles a lot of people, mostly men.
She does have a thing for unsettling men.
I have absolutely adored her from way back. I'm talking even the stuff where I'm like, I don't know, this is kind of puerile. It's not like real comedy, that beginning level stuff. Sure. But it was her thing. There's just something about her that, even up till today, I want to see more in film. I think she's quite well. Michelle Williams, we adore her as well. I'm always going to see her as the poor librarian in Station Agent.
Sure.
It's such a small part. And she just, to me, that's like one of her best. Because when you're cast as a lead, you've got to bring it, right?
Yeah.
Or the film goes down the tubes. When you're cast in a bit part and people remember that, like that's as much of a, her bit as a librarian is as much of a potent piece of this whole story as any of the rest of it. That to me speaks volumes of how an actor can bring real presence.
The first film I saw her in that I remember seeing her in was Brokeback Mountain. And she played the wife of I think she was the wife of Heath Ledger's character.
Yeah.
And she, like every time she was there on screen, she completely stole it.
Mm-hmm.
She was incredible in that movie.
Right. And that was a big part to play.
Yeah.
Right. And that's why I like Station Agent. this guy's having all this shit happen, and you get the whole idea that his life is just, miserable from all the morons and stuff because he's a dwarf. And the first interaction with her, you're just like, nothing grand, nothing big. You're just like, the different element in the world.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And then, Seth Rogan, like I said, I think it was, top-notch performance. And
Yeah.
I think he deserves a lot of, even, now still looking at, because I think he can bring it. And everything else. Music selection was awesome. Artistically, everything was well shot. The lighting everything about this movie felt real and natural.
It did. Which,
if you know anything about film, is the hardest fucking thing in the world to do. Right? Yeah. We can all do noir stuff. We can do sci-fi, creepy, horror, dark and shadowy shit. But to make everything feel so real that you're there, that's a difficult thing to accomplish.
Yeah.
Because you got to have the lighting right. You got to have a DP that knows what the hell they're doing. As a director, you got to know where to put people, right? Yeah. So the light always seems natural and stuff.
I mean, one of the really good ones is the family gathering. Yeah. Everyone's talking over each other, and you see that, and I'm just like, oh, this is my family, right?
Yes. Well, in every crowd situation, notice the main characters that need to speak have to leave.
Yeah.
To get away from it. And that's as real as it gets. We've seen a lot of movies where there's a room full of people, all this and that. And then, through the art of additional dialogue recording, you have two people carrying on a conversation in an environment that you goddamn know well. There's no way. Right?
Yeah.
It's like in bars and stuff, music playing, people shouting stuff. Nobody's sitting at a table. So I went to go see so-and-so, and this is what's going on. Fuck no.
No.
Right? You can have your mouth up to someone's ear and they're not going to hear you. And it always feels unnatural. It's like, I know what's going on around you. I don't like that. I don't like elevating the dialogue of characters outside of an environment. I think it kind of pulls me out of everything. So in this one, they got to have a talk. They got to leave these noisy ass people and go stand in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I like it. And we get bits and pieces of stuff in the first one, their first gathering, and you don't get all of it. I feel like, if I were to watch this again a couple times, I'll get more and more.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's anything worthwhile. I don't think there's any foreshadowing going on.
Right.
But it's always interesting to me to see what a director has people do to fill stuff in the background, or what people come up with to fill shit in the background. Because a lot of times, scenes like this, everyone will be just kind of like mouthing, but not speaking.
Yeah.
Right? Like we did for, our short, right? It's a restaurant. It's got to be noise. Well, we'll add murmuring dialogue and stuff later, but everyone has to be miming, speaking and gesticulating and,
right.
Everything. Everything awesome.
Yeah.
But we had some conversation.
We did.
About the end of this movie and the character of Margot. Would you like to begin?
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of conversation, so I'm just going to kind of dive in on what my current, feelings and thoughts are.
Right.
I think Sarah Silverman's character kind of said it best when she said, life has a gap in it. You don't go crazy trying to fill it. I think that's Margot has a hole in her.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That isn't filled by Lou. That she thinks could be filled by Daniel.
Right.
And it turns out that it isn't. And it is she eventually figures out at the end that it is her, right? That she has got to figure out how to fill this hole. Someone else can't fill it for her.
Right.
Right. And she took too long to learn it. You know what I mean?
I mostly agree with that in principle. What I think happened is because there was a scene where where Daniel was in the bathroom brushing his teeth. She walked in to go to the bathroom and he left.
Right.
Right. So
so it was all about the bathroom.
It was all about the bathroom. No, but that was a brilliant contrast shot.
Yeah.
Right. With Lou wouldn't have been a thing. Daniel's not that kind of guy. Daniel's not Lou.
Right.
And we get that through the whole thing, right? It's not like she's like, I'm just, all this way for artists of any kind of thing.
It is kind of like she wants him to be Lou, but just,
maybe a little
sexy in a different way.
But here's the thing. So like I said, I got the sense that her and Lou didn't connect on the right level. And we don't get a lot of backstory on how they met and
right.
what attracted them and stuff. And I think it's really not important.
No.
Okay. And as anyone who's over the age of 25 knows and has had more than 2 relationships, right? And this breadth of knowledge only gets better as you get older. There's a lot of people who are super cool, but at some point you can find you actually are very opposite people.
Yeah.
Right? Like I said, you can share the same love of movies, sense of humor, kinds of food, adventures, all this stuff. But there's like 3 or 4 things in all of us that we have to connect 100% with someone, or it will go to shit, or you spend the rest of your life miserably married and trying to hold it together and all that crazy ass shit that we learned from
right.
the 40s and 50s. Right. I think her and Lou should never have gotten married because I think, again, I was going back and forth. Is Lou an asshole in this? Or because we talked about it at one point. I'm
right.
like, is he a dick or is the reveal going to be she like really fucked up in a major way? And he's just having a hard time kind of, forgiving or getting back into the groove. Turns out they're both who they are. On the surface level, they're both wonderful people. Right?
Yeah.
They just shouldn't have been together for those core reasons. I think at the end, what we see is, I think she kind of fucked it up with Daniel as she did with Lou, and found herself in a situation where she was in that between, and that last shot is her not repeating her pattern.
Okay.
Like you said, got to be okay with yourself before you can be okay with anybody.
Right.
Right. And I looked at it and it's not, there's no red flag for anybody. There are people out there like the character of Margot who they have to be with somebody to be somebody. They are terrified of being alone. They simply can't be alone for whatever reason.
Yeah, you base your personality off of another person.
Right. And they kind of just like, I'm like in a 60% match with this person. That's good enough. I'm not alone. Bam, let's do it. Let's get married. Let's do the thing, whatever. And then, like Geraldine said, life is full of pauses. When there's that air bubble of nothingness going on, those kinds of people panic. And the first anything, Daniel could not have even been after her, right?
Right.
She could have easily read any of that into, it's happened, right? But in fact, he was very much into her and pursuing her. I think this is, it's awesome because you can continuously dissect this.
I know I can, I could debate this with you for, endlessly. And that's what I really like about this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it opens up that kind of discussion, that dialogue. Right.
What I took away from this was, there's that whole thing. Well, there's always 2 sides. I fucking hate that phrase. Because actually, more often than not, there is only the one side. A lot of times there is right and wrong, right? A man beats a woman and she leaves him. He doesn't get a side. He doesn't get a story. There's only the one side. So I hate that because they apply that shit to everything from mundane to like critical mass importance.
Yeah.
So here's what I look at it though is in this one, it's not two sides to a story. There's just two stories. Because when you say there's two sides to a story, then you're trying to weigh who's at fault. Lou did nothing wrong. Lou is Lou. Margot did nothing wrong. Margot is Margot. And I think that it, there's just so much. Nobody's in the wrong. I think it's an absolutely brilliant piece on how we are all who we are. And when things don't work out, two sides to a story means, again, you got to pick which one you think is, the winner.
Right.
Right. There are no two sides. They're just two separate stories that shouldn't have been forced into the same jar. Right. It's like water and oil. You can be in there and you can connect on certain things and this and that, but ultimately when it comes together, you're not going to fuse. You're not going to mesh, to become that one thing. Is it anybody's fault? Not always.
Right. Sometimes people just,
I mean, I was relieved at the end of this. I didn't want to see Lou get hurt, but I knew they shouldn't be together. Kind of figured this whole thing with Daniel is going to become something. It's going to mean something. But, I wasn't like, oh, that bitch.
No.
You should be on the scrambler alone.
No.
It's because I didn't see it as a punishment. It was growth.
Yeah.
And sometimes growth comes at the expense of other people. And that's just something we cannot ever undo.
Sometimes it's messy,
Yeah. And we can't avoid it. I mean, that's what being a social creature is. We learn from our mistakes, right? We learn when we're little. Someone calls you a butthead and you backhand them in kindergarten. It's probably not the way to carry on. And we're taught these things. But even as parents, we can't sit down with your kid and for 6 months, no sleep, nothing, just nonstop talk, minute after minute, and try to implant all the things in their head, right?
Right.
Before you turn them loose on the world. Trial and error. We learn by observing. We learn, there's all that stuff. But when it comes to relationships, doing, that's the thing. To learn how to be in a relationship, you have to be in one.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about learning how not to be violent and all that, because that's a whole separate thing. But normal human beings who respect and love one another just as human beings, not even at a relationship level, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna, there is no magic relationship. You build it.
Yeah. You create it.
Yeah. And that's what I saw between Margot and Lou. There's some huge blocks missing in their foundation.
Sure.
Like you found what you like. You're weird. I have a new ice pick. I love you so much. I want to set you on.
Peel your skin off.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's your thing. The weird little games that they play. That's your thing. How they talk about stuff. That's your thing. But then there's those deep, intimate moments. Having dinner.
And those are where they struggled a lot.
A lot. And those were the blocks that didn't exist. I mean, neither of them brought enough to the table to meet halfway with the other person. And that's fine because everyone's different. I know people who, when they're like, I'm eating, that's their only fucking response to anything, whether it's in a restaurant or at home. I'm eating. Okay. I guess we'll wait until we're done.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't want to talk. Any number of weird things.
Yeah.
Any number of weird things. But I think this is a magnificent analysis of the human condition.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful. Yeah, I mean, it's a wonderful story, right? And it is, I mean, it's so identifiable, right? This story. I mean, you and I talk like, who hasn't been in, I mean, not necessarily this situation,
Right.
right? But who can't understand, right, the difficulties of relationships and the complexities of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's why I said anyone over the age of 25 who's had more than 2 relationships, right, in that time, or, whenever, will get it.
Yeah.
If you haven't, this is going to be hard process.
I mean, our relationship started at a very complicated place.
It did.
Right?
Yeah. we both were in a very complicated place.
Yes.
And somehow our complicated orbs floated together in the same space.
Yeah.
Which is, was what it was.
Yeah. And I mean, like, if I'm being honest, that first little chunk of our forming kind of, our relationship, not my favorite time in my life. Right?
Right. Ditto. Because, not everything is a Harlequin romance.
Right.
We both had very real shit going on.
Yeah.
And then this new reality was kind of forming. And yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I remember thinking many times, like, God, the last thing I need in my life right now.
Well, same. It was one of those, I guess, moments for
is
both
to be
of
falling
us.
in love with this. Jeez.
Well, that's just it. I think for both of us, we would have welcomed the in-between. I mean, that's where my mindset was. It's like, I just can't wait to wash this shit off my shoes, be through this fucking hell, get all this done and taken care of. And I'm going to sit by myself wherever I end up, watching whatever I'm watching, just by my fucking self.
Yeah.
Right? Just to be done, to heal or whatever has to happen. But fate is funny sometimes.
Yeah, it worked out.
You don't get that.
No.
That was not on the menu.
Right.
And, forever thankful for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie, the lesson here, I think, there's tons of, I mean, everyone knows the little lessons. Look at the lighting, the setup, the shots, the direction, the dialogue, all that. The plot flow, where things were, tight and where things were allowed to be a little loose and how that mattered. Rather than pick all that apart, I think this is a wonderful treatise on, if you want to write a human story, watch this movie, experience it. I hate people who recommend you read a script. Read the Oscar-winning script or read this award-winning script. No, fuck the script. The script, like I said, is 30% of the fucking film.
Yeah.
All right? Awesome. That's it.
Because this is like, it's real and it's, it's very raw, this movie.
So when you have a writer telling you, don't worry about what was fucking written. That's the least important part of the movie. The script is what gets the check.
Yeah.
Once someone has the check, it's what they do with it. This cast, this crew, Sarah Polley is the director and writer. They bring us something that is so genuine that you need to take notes on it. Like we did, only not to talk about on a show, but why it was real, what you relate to. And then you need to start absorbing that and turning it around on what you've already written or what you're writing, saying, so how can I have these two communicate? What can I change here? What can make it better? More or less words? Right?
Right.
Because you can't fill a script with, he looks at her this way. She responds by looking at that. Nope. That's the actor's job to get that. You put in key things like if he absolutely has to get pissed, you got to put that in there so that the actor knows, okay, this is where we're going.
Mm-hmm.
This character's getting pissed. All right. So I'm going to take over from there and show you how he gets pissed, at what speed he gets pissed. That's the actor's craft. Stay out of it. Let them do their job. This is real. I mean, this was real. And it was refreshing because, like I said, I came out of this not blaming anybody.
Right.
But even Geraldine, right? You can't just take off and get drunk. But she, and it's not like she was playing it off. She's like, you fell off the wagon. She's like, well, of course. Where the fuck have you been? course,
Right?
what'd you expect?
Yeah.
But she did
I
foreshadow.
told you I was gonna.
Yep, she foreshadowed that in the beginning, that
Mhm.
every great sobriety success story, has, falling off the wagon 8 times.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different story. It doesn't even have like a through line or a B line. It's just a thing that happens after a thing that was mentioned, because she's not involved in any part in between except the peephole incident. But even with her, you don't dislike her. You get
No.
those few seconds that she's there, you get what's going on. When Margot hits on Lou at the end, right? You get
Yeah.
it. You get it,
Yeah.
right? But it's also a clear indication that things with Daniel aren't fantastic.
Right.
We've seen visually all the weird sex life and other weird stuff they were doing. Just kind of, living their best life. All of a sudden it just, now we've got the matched furniture and everything's tidy. And then more than once as it goes around, they're sitting on the couch watching TV. And so when it stops and settles, when everything's in its place, everything is settled, the excitement of the new relationship is gone.
Right.
And say what you want, folks. It always goes away. Right. And people are like, oh, no, what you've done is you found the next level of excitement.
Right.
But see, there are some people who can't. That's that in between.
Right.
When it stops being new, it doesn't immediately start being something else. That takes both of you to just keep going the way you're going, and you won't even know what the hell it is. It appears. And then this is the thing you do, like we've had a lot of stuff, to kind of just some level of metal detecting.
Right.
It's very new, and
it's new. And
we're looking
fun.
forward to doing it again. But it's that connection thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing something we enjoy. We're doing it together, just like the writing and everything else. It's not everything is somebody's fault.
No,
it really isn't.
And it is easy. It's very easy, and it's something that you want to do, right? When things don't go right, you want to blame somebody. Everybody wants to blame somebody.
Yeah.
Right? But honestly, that's not how it always goes.
It isn't. The one thing I really did like is that Lou was not made to be a sour character.
Right.
Right? The important thing that everyone was together for was Geraldine.
Yeah.
Okay. Margot showed up, even though she's literally not part of the family anymore.
Right.
Okay. But it's still a connection. Okay. And they didn't smarmify the whole thing. Right. Didn't overdo it. He was clearly not going to be entering any more chapters with her. Right. She asked him if he's dating somebody. And he's like, no. Very curtly. I'm not just jumping one to the next. And he was very clear that he was not okay.
Right.
But he was okay.
Yeah.
And I think it was, it was like, okay, no. I'm getting there. Right? Because it's a lot to process.
Yeah.
It's a lot to process. Are there better ways for this kind of situation to unfold? Yes. But here's reality. Those seldom, if ever, happen. Because the situation is what it is when it is.
Right. I mean, how would she have brought that up to him? Right. Oh, by the way, sweetheart, I think I'm falling in love with the neighbor.
Yeah. And so, and there's a million ways she could have brought it up. Could have brought it up as we need to talk about this because this is happening. Or, and this is, I think, something that could happen with somebody else, but not with this character. Right? To sit down and say, so let me tell you, I'm all up in about this neighbor guy and I shouldn't be.
Right.
So I think we need to get some help.
Right.
Something's wrong. Not saying it's you, not saying it's me, but something's wrong. Okay. This character, Margot, though, she doesn't have any of that in her bag, her toolkit. No, her life skills did not furnish her with that. So it happened as it happened. But yeah, I love this. This falls into my category of the slice of life films
Sure.
that I love so much. Only stuff is actually happening here. Station Agent, Local Hero. I love those because you can just be there with them. This, I feel, it's not exactly the same. It has the same feel to it, that comfortable, that realness.
Yeah.
Where I understand that part of the kitchen. It's hard to explain, right?
I get it.
I've been in that kitchen. I've been on that couch.
Yeah.
I've been walking. There's just so much familiarity because it has a real aspect to it. And it's not like a rom-com where you can't identify with anything other than it's funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Highly recommend.
Absolutely. This is going to improve your character interactions and your theme greatly.
Yeah, we streamed it on Tubi if you are interested in streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where else it might be available. Probably lots of places. I don't know.
Well, we have the one place you can find it. Dig around, folks. I mean, find it. Put in the effort.
According to IMDb, Hulu, Tubi, that's about it.
Start with Tubi. Because here's the thing. Before we go, let's talk about Hulu for just like 30 seconds. Hulu has a bad habit. So like we have Apple TV, right? And we'll search on like a show and it'll show up and where to watch. And it'll be like for rent on Apple TV or Amazon or something. And then it'll show up on Hulu. And then invariably, most of the time we fucking click on Hulu because we're like, oh, well, let's get some use out of this shitting program.
Right.
We used to pay for it, but now it comes free with our cell phone bundle and stuff. So it's there. So you click on it and then it goes to Hulu and it just shows you that, yes, we're aware of this movie, but we don't have it. You can't rent it. You can't watch it. You can't buy it, but we just want to let you know that we know.
Like, it exists.
Stupid motherfuckers. Whatever. Okay. I'm done with Hulu. They don't pay for a promotion. So
yeah, go to Tubi instead because they're pretty cool.
Yeah. Tons of stuff. I'm very excited because like I said, I've got one movie every week for the rest of this year.
That's awesome.
For women in film, directors and writers. A lot of them are super exciting to get into. Some are just like, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
And along the way, we'll have hopefully some, interviews and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But on this May day, while we are not out circling the maypole because it's still too goddamn cold in Wisconsin and wet to be out doing anything like that. Hopefully someone has,
right,
in the warmer climes of this country. And, we just got a lot of stuff coming. Looks like we're going to be back weekly because this will be out 1 week after Hilton.
Oh,
well, yeah.
Exciting.
Getting back into the flow of stuff.
Yeah.
Getting back into the flow of stuff. It'd be fun. Anything else that we can throw out there? Did you remember the thing? I haven't.
No.
I have not remembered that thing that you said, I want to mention this. I'm like, oh yeah, that would be excellent. It's the place for it.
Yeah, I don't remember the thing.
Not even a hint.
We'll have links. We'll be putting out links to the fundraisers for Kenny and for Miles.
Yes.
And his family.
Yes. And yeah. Should be getting weekly. I think we got to do another episode. I don't know. Anyway. At the very least, we'll start doing those on social media.
Yeah.
But we'll have it in here. Yeah. We'll get them on the things. But we'll check Instagram, mostly check Twitter and Facebook.
Yes.
Because I only do Instagram like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
It just gets lost. Help folks out. And, if you know of somebody who needs a hand, let's start being human and do what we can.
Yeah.
And that's all you got to do is do what you can.
Times are tough.
Yeah. Nobody expects us a level of anything, but let's just try and do what we can. And, on another note, help people and help filmmaking, right? Check our past few episodes. We've got all the links and stuff. All these people. Check out our website. We have links to our folks. Check out our YouTube channel. Mostly because all the channels are on there. Kenny's is on there as well.
Yeah.
So go to Bravo for the B-side on YouTube. I don't care if you listen to the episodes through there or not. Not many do. I mean, only a couple, but it was a big deal. I don't know. I do it anyway. It really doesn't take me any time on an automated process to do it. So for the YouTube listeners, sweet. Everyone else, hop over there. Check everyone out. Give where you can. Do what you can. And, see if we can make 2022 the year that we break through and beyond all this pandemic stuff and really bring our creativeness back to full flare.
With any luck.
Yeah. All right.
Well, until next time, B-siders.
This is Jim.
And this is Danny.
And we'll be talking to you soon.
Bye.